Simone Biles almost died, and the news managed to make it about her husband. Let me give you the rundown on what happened. Also, please ignore my voice. I am recovering from the worst cold of my life. A few days ago, Simone Biles took to her Instagram story to talk about the fact that she had a medical emergency recently, and she said it was one of, if not the scariest experiences of her life. She wrote, "I'm not normally one to share things like this because I value privacy in today's age, but almost dying wasn't on my bingo card earlier this week." She said the emergency happened while her husband, Jonathan Owens, who is an NFL player, was out of town, which made it scarier. And then she said, "I've been in bed resting this week. I'll explain sooner or later, but shout out to my close circle who reached out, checked in, visited, or sent flowers." She shared photos of a heart monitor and some hospital bracelets on her wrist, along with photos of some of the flowers that people sent her. Obviously, people were deeply concerned for Simone because as someone who does death-defying tricks on a daily basis, for her to say something was a near-death experience or was the scariest experience of her life is pretty alarming. People in the sports world started publishing articles about this. Most of them just said something like Simone Biles suffers medical emergency or something like that. There was one published by Gridiron Heroics and syndicated to Yahoo Sports that said, "Breaking. NFL wife Simone Biles nearly passes away. Hospital photos released. What we know." Needless to say, people were outraged about this headline. Reducing Simone Biles, who is the GOAT, quite literally the greatest athlete of all time, to an NFL wife is insulting. It's not wrong, per se. She is married to an NFL player, which does make her an NFL wife, but it takes away all of her individual accomplishments. As someone on Threads said, Yahoo Sports calling Simone Biles an NFL wife is like calling Taylor Swift an NFL fiance. Like, it's not technically wrong, but you done fucked up your headline. So the author of the article saw the criticism and he took to Threads, and here's what he said. "I am the author of the Simone Biles article. First and foremost, I would like to apologize for how the headline of the article came off. It was never my intention to be rude or discredit it what Simone Biles has done with her career. I write for an NFL website, and during the off-season, we oftentimes find any topics to write about that is even remotely correlated with the NFL. I have followed Simone Biles for a long time and have genuinely nothing but respect for her. The SEO keyword I used for that article was NFL. That is quite literally the only reason why I used that title. Never in a million years did I think it was coming off as disrespectful. However, seeing the massive amount of feedback, I completely understand how it did. I've realized this is how it was perceived, and I understand it was insensitive. At the end of the day, I can genuinely say I learned from this. You've all opened my eyes to ensuring I titles articles in a more respectful manner. I'm not a misogynistic person or an asshole. I was genuinely just thinking in the context of my NFL page, nothing more. I realize now I should have done better. I apologize." Now listen, an apology in this instance is a good thing, right? It's a good thing that he saw the criticism and that he is learning from it. But there are a few issues, and I think this just shows how entrenched patriarchy is in our society. Because he said, "It was never my intention to be rude." And then he also said, "Never in 1,000,000 years did I think it was coming off as disrespectful." How would that never enter your mind, right? Like, you are reducing an athlete in her own right to a wife. I spent 10 years as a writer. I am deeply familiar with SEO and how it works. And I understand that for an NFL website, you need to have NFL in the headline somewhere, but there are so many other ways to do it. Like, he could have said, Simone Biles, decorated gymnast and wife of NFL player Jonathan Owens. He could have said, Simone Biles deals with medical emergency while NFL husband is out of town. Simone Biles hasn't responded to this article, but she has responded to some critique of her. The post said, "Every time I see Simone Biles being defended against patriarchy, I remember her calling women all types of derogatory names when we called her husband Mr. Simone Biles as a joke. She made it clear that she's his wife first and preferred to be called his wife over any other honorific. Yet here you all are defending a patriarchal princess from the patriarchy she loves. I hope Mrs. Jonathan Owens gets well soon." Simone responded to that and said, "This quite literally never happened. I never called women derogatory names. Y'all make stuff up and run with it. Fact check before you put stuff out like this. I just said he has a name. We're both individuals." And although that wasn't a response to the article, I think it kind of also was. Because her saying we're both individuals is exactly the point that people were trying to get across about this article. She is not an NFL wife. She is Simone Biles. He is Jonathan Owens. They don't need to be referred to in terms of one another. So anyway, that's the drama. We still don't really know what happened. Maybe she'll update us when she feels comfortable with it, but hopefully she's doing okay.